Hi, this is Mike at BrashMonkey, and this quick tip tutorial is going to show you how to use inverse kinematics in Spriter. And the first two features I'm going to show you work great in Spriter Essentials or Spriter Pro. So the most basic use of IK would be for situations such as elbows and knees where you simply have two bones that are jointed, and in those simple cases all you have to do is hold the shift key while you click and rotate the child bone of that joint, and you'll see by holding shift I get this very natural arm movement. Okay, this is IK at work in its simplest form, and the alternative without IK, if I release shift, is now I can only rotate or move one bone at a time. And while of course this is perfectly functional and highly accurate, it's just slower and a little less natural and intuitive than just sort of grabbing him by the wrist here and positioning the arm how I want. But what if you have a much more complicated limb with lots of joints or hinges in between a long series of bones? To demonstrate this, I'm actually going to use one of these upper arm images here, but I'm going to use it to make a tail for the dragon. So as you can see, I'm just dragging out the image. Now I'm holding the control key and I'm just going to left click and drag to create a copy of this, and I'm going to reduce it a bit and rotate it, and then I'm going to just do this a few more times to create a tail, like so. Shrink it a little bit, rotate it a little bit. So I'm going to add a few more, and then I'm going to fix the Z order. There we go. And then add the bones, and I'll be right back. So I'm back with the fully assembled tail, and it's fully rigged with its bones here now, and you could see if I had to animate this tail with one bone at a time, while it certainly works, it's just going to take a lot longer to reach really natural curved positions. And if I use the previous method to trigger IK, which is to pick the bone at the end of the hierarchy, the child bone here, and hold shift and start rotating, you'll see it only affects the one parent bone above it. So how do we affect all of the bones? What we need to do is actually select all of the bones in the tail, and there's a cool shortcut in Spriter to help you do this very quickly. And all you do is left click to select the sort of parent-most bone of the limb you want to affect, so the sort of the bone at the top of the hierarchy for that specific limb, and then just press the Z key or Z key, and when you do that, you're going to it's going to automatically select everything below that bone on the hierarchy. So now my whole bone is selected, and now when I hold shift and click, you'll see that I have the entire tail selected and working with inverse kinematics. And now I can get really smooth curved poses very, very easily. What I've shown you so far with IK works perfectly in the free version of Spriter, which is, as you can see, I've been using Spriter Essentials, but Spriter Pro offers some advanced IK related features to help you when posing the entire character and not just one of his limbs. So I'm going to activate Spriter Pro, and I'll be right back to show you those features. Okay, I'm back, and now I'm in Spriter Pro, and here's one of the great features in Pro that really increases the usability of inverse kinematics, especially for posing an entire character, and this is IK locking. So if I simply right click on a child bone, you'll see I'm holding the right mouse button, and this little interface appears here, and it allows me to select 3 different things. And I'm going to just move my mouse over the anchor, which is currently grayed out and turned off, and then when I release the right mouse button while my pointer is over that icon, you'll see this red dot appear, and that means I've turned on the anchoring. So I'm going to do that with this other lower leg bone. And now if I hold shift and click and move the entire main bone of the character, the pelvis bone, you'll see his feet do their best to stay in those positions. So if I just move like this, the character's feet will stay on the ground, and if I extend him up, they'll only leave the ground once they're forced to, once the upper legs have pointed in that direction as much as they can. I'm back and I've just created this example to show how some of these more advanced IK related features can be used to animate sort of machinery or non-organic type things. And in this example, we're going to rotate this entire structure here like it's some piece of machinery. But what if you don't want these purple parts here to also rotate with it? So what I've done is I have a main bone here that's assigned to this sort of gray cross section here in the middle, and then you'll see that there are these 4 child bones of that main bone that each have one of these separate sort of pink images attached to them. And then what I did was, again, if I right click on one of these child bones, by default this inherit rotation is turned on for a child bone like this. But I just did I held the right mouse button, I moused over this rotation inheritance icon, and then I released the right mouse button, and now I've done that with all 4. And now you'll see when I rotate this main bone, these other bones, even though they're changing their position appropriately, like they're a child of the main bone, they're no longer inheriting the rotation of that main bone. So now they're staying perfectly upright, and I can do cool stuff like this. Okay, so I'll end this Quicktip tutorial with one last scenario here. I'm going to delete this sort of crossbar section images here. So now we just have these 4 objects that appear to be separate. Let's say I was creating some kind of very symmetrical particle or explosion effect. What I can do, let's say we start at our 0 point in our timeline, and then we're going to hold shift while I scale this bone, and it'll scale everything out uniformly. Okay, so we're going to start like that, and then we're going to go all the way to near the end of the timeline. I'm going to zoom in a little, and then I'm going to hold shift again and bring back up the scale quite a bit. So now I can drag across and see how far up I scale, and I'm using the 1 and 2 key to go back and forth from keyframe to keyframe. Make that a little bigger. Now I'm going to rotate it a bit, the whole thing. Oops, I accidentally grabbed. If you accidentally grab sprites when you don't want to, when you want to just interact with bones, you can lock your sprites. Now you can't accidentally select sprites. There we go. And now that we've rotated that, so now you can see what we've got here like this. And now we're also on this main bone going to bring the alpha down. So as you can see, that's controlling the opacity of every child. So we're going to fade that out to nothing here. So now we have this. So you can see how it's very easy to create a nice uniform sort of particle movement, circular particle movement, where each separate particle either rotates or doesn't with these special features. And that's it. Thanks a lot for watching.